Okay, here's your quick tip. This one is about getting to know your color. Too often we will buy a tube of color just because our teacher or some other artist happens to have that color on their palette, but we won't really get to know that color before we attempt to use it in a painting, and then we get all kinds of surprises. So here is a really, what I think is a neat thing that you can do to help you to get to know your color. One thing is the colors are either transparent, opaque, or semi-transparent, semi-opaque. So you can draw using a permanent marker. You can draw a black line across the painting surface of any kind, and simply without any medium in the brush whatsoever, this is alizarin crimson I have here, you can paint right over that black line. You see, if the black line shows through, you know the color is transparent, and that will be meaningful to you later when you start to use the color. I'm going to do one more to show you an opaque color. This is Terra Rosa. By the way, the alizarin crimson I'm using there was a Utrecht. This is Terra Rosa. That is a Holbein color. And here is Terra Rosa, and you can see it covers the line. It's therefore opaque. So if you make a line, if you go through all of your tubes, whether you're painting in watercolor, oil, acrylic, or gouache, it doesn't matter. It's the same principle. Gouache, most of them be either semi-transparent to opaque. But so you draw that line, all the colors in your tubes, do this sort of thing, and then you will know. Another thing that would be helpful to do, and this too applies to all mediums, is to see how, if it's a transparent color, see how it changes if you add white to it. And I'm talking to watercolor people here too, because all your watercolors, you've been taught not to use white. Well, that's just cheating you. If you add white to a color in watercolor, you're going to get a new color. Now, let me show you this, and I'll just show you right up here, right under this. If I add a little bit of white into alizarin crimson, and I'm going to keep it relatively dark here, look at how the nature of the color changes. It goes more to a rose color, a beautiful rose color. And you can add even more white, and you can take that color even into a lighter color rose. With the alizarin crimson itself, you see, has a richer kind of almost kind of a blood color. So test your transparent colors by finding out what they'll do with white, and test them just straight out of the tube, find out what they do there. Another way to test the colors, all of your colors, is to see just how transparent, see what happens to the color as it gets more and more transparent. If you're working with watercolor, you could do that with water. If you're working in oil, you would do that with either linseed oil or any painting medium. Now I have a little linseed oil here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And this helps to know what happens to your colors if you're going to use glazing. Now I'll put just a little bit of alizarin crimson here. I'm going to go along this line. Let's see, I put a little bit more, and see that it gets darker, and this, and then I'm going to go a little bit more medium, just a little bit more. This is linseed oil, as I said before, and you'll just take that line and continue it. Let's see how the color actually gets a little weaker, and notice how that is a different color than it will be if it has white mixed with it. So I'm going to just put just a little bit of white in with alizarin crimson and show you that comparison right here. So the transparency of the color and its opaqueness do change when, there we go, right there. So you see the character of the color changes when you add white to it. Let's put just a little bit more of the white right in there. All right. The one other thing I suggest that you do all your tube colors, when you get have a new tube color, or take all the tube colors you have now, set yourself up a chart where you find out what happens with that color when it's mixed with a white. And that's simply to take the color and start it at its original, straight out of the tube, and gradually add a little bit of white at the time, as you move into a gradation of that color and take it to the lightest light that it will go. If you do all of your colors, if you do this little exercise with all of your colors, then you will have a knowledge about what actually happens to that color, what its ability is within its various value ranges. So there's your quick tip.